And you beautiful folks, it's me, Steve the Noise. I am back for another edition of Horror Noise. How you doing, you beautiful folks? I hope you're well. So I got the bug again, as you can see. 2 days ago, I just done Aliens, and here I am back tonight with Inside, or as it's actually pronounced in French, L'Atelier. I'll leave it to the experts one sec.
À l'intérieur.
À l'Atelier. Apologies to any of my French followers. Inside, or À l'Intérieur, is a 2007 French horror film as part of the new French Extremity. If any of you have watched my Martyrs review, you will know exactly what you're in for when it comes to this subgenre of horror. But this film was directed by Alexandre Bastillot and Julien Maury. This is a very rare thing in Hollywood. I haven't seen very often, to be fair. They're a partnership. They are a director partnership. And they have since gone on to do Leatherface 2017. Not much else. But yeah, to say that they struck gold with this film is understatement. Jesus Christ. I watched this film about 2 years ago, and it blew my fucking mind then. I've only seen it once, and I thought, you know what, I need to give it another go, and I did so last night, and hence why I'm here now tonight with you guys, because it absolutely blew my mind again. Second viewing, my God, it was so brutal. It was so fucking violent and shocking, and just sadistic and gory. It was just, oh God. Similar to Martyrs, I had a big problem with Martyrs. If anyone's seen my review on that one, the third act of Martyrs was just too much. Whilst Inside is ridiculously gory and sadistic, it still followed a storyline, and whilst it was horrible in places, it didn't quite delve to the just horrible, brutal, hostile-like methods that this film did. But trust me, this film had left its own mark. Trust me when I say that. Trust me. So obviously, again, the new French Extremity subgenre of horror in the French cinema making that was so shunned upon that they had to go and make their own subgenre. So Inside for me is my favourite by far. So obviously you got Martyrs. You know how I feel about that film. Fucking hell. You got High Tension, which is fantastic. Raw, bit of a slow burner, but I thought that was really good. Frontiers, which I saw about 3 months ago, and again similar to this. The Frenchman. Well, so when it comes to foreign horror, I constantly say that the South Koreans are the best with their storytelling and their story making and character building. Nothing can rival the French when it comes to utter brutality and just sheer violence. It's just fuck. And Frontiers is one of them. And Revenge, which is, yeah, a pretty solid film. Pretty shocking in places, but yeah, Inside and Martyrs are the leaders of the pack for this subgenre. Put it that way. So please bear in mind, I'm doing the French original version, obviously with the translation there, not the American. I actually saw the American remake before the French one, and I remember watching the French version, and I was like, this feels very familiar. But by the end, it was like, this is a completely different film. So the American remake, of course, is going to shallow down everything. It's going to, it's just going to lukewarm it down. It's just going to cut out all of the horrible nastiness and try to build a story around it. And the story remains very similar, but yeah, the American remake is nothing compared to this, as with a lot of foreign horrors. So keep that in mind. So what I'm going to do, I'm going back to my usual format now because this film came out in 2007. So there might be quite a lot of you who haven't seen it. So for the first part of this review, I'm going to go into non-spoilers. So the film opens up with the character called Sarah, who's played by an actress called Alison Pardiers. There you go. Here's my pronunciation again. My problems. And she's with her husband, and she's heavily pregnant. Probably, well, not heavily, maybe about 6 months, 7 months, obviously showing. And she goes through a car crash, unfortunately, and she's heavily injured. Luckily, the baby's okay, but her husband, I believe, either that or long-term boyfriend, is unfortunately passed away. Now, all of this is in the synopsis, so don't worry. I'm not giving away too much stuff. You probably would have seen that in the trailer that I shared at the beginning, anyway. So Sarah loses her husband, and not only does she have to obviously grieve over her partner, she's now going through her first pregnancy on her own without a partner there to support her. And the film it breaks down quite a lot of taboos. It shows, the struggles and the stresses and the real life paranoia and anxiety that especially a newly single mum would have to go through. Obviously, nurturing and feeling the bump and then having these flashbacks and these lovely moments of kissing or loving or seducing her partner, and then it just jumps back into reality, into normal time, and he's still passed away. And it's quite sad seeing her character go from what you early on see to be quite bubbly and everything's going for her, and then she starts to almost like alienate herself. And it's a real life thing that a lot of people can go through depression and stress. I've done it in the past. Once you go through something quite traumatic, you go into yourself, and you see it with this character Sarah, and it's quite sad and quite sobering. And again, with the French style of filmmaking, they latch onto it and produce some quite sad but beautiful filmmaking. Now, everything that she's already gone through, then she goes to a checkup with the baby, and the doctor informs her that he's going to induce her. I was going to say seduce there, Jesus. That'd be a bit weird. He's going to induce her the next day, which just happened to be Christmas Eve. And she's almost just like, she's so distant, she's just disassociated herself with it all. The doctor's telling her everything she needs to go through. She's like, yeah. So the Sarah's going through it. And on her final night, before she's obviously going to be induced, she just sits at home alone. Her mum says she wants to come over. No, she gives a key to her boss. He seems to be the only person that she trusts at the moment. So she locks herself down for the night, and then there's a home invader. So basically, someone knocks on the door, and it turns into a sort of home invader kind of film, a thriller almost. And yeah, to say it doesn't end too well for Sarah is an understatement. Fuck. So everything you know about taboos in horror, I keep mentioning it, and I keep mentioning films that are breaking it, but pregnant women are obviously seen in society as, the most vulnerable. You just don't touch them. You don't touch them. You don't mess with them. They're such a delicate flower, and they need to be protected at all costs. Let's just say this film breaks those taboos down and stamps on its face quite large amounts of this film. So that's as far as I can get with my non-spoiler review of Inside. So noise, I'm going to give it a early review now. I'm going to remember which way to scroll across, and I'm going to go this way. So noise gives it I'm going to fucking figure this out one day. It's like a mirror. I'm going to give it a 8.5 out of 10. I watched it last night, and oh my god, it blew me away. Like I said, I've seen it before, but I went about a good sort of year or two without seeing it, and I just had a little feeling just to give it another go, give it another go. And my God, it brought back everything that I watched, the experience from that first viewing. Absolutely sadistic, violent, horrible, graphic, everything you expect from new French Extremity and more. So, 8.5 noise, highly recommend it. If you have not seen this film, please turn off in 5 seconds. I'm about to go into spoilers. Ready? Spoilers. So, we obviously touched on it, the car crash. Um, they do this quite unsettling and horrible little thing in this film where they have CGI of whatever the baby's going through. So if the mother is obviously suffering or going through pain, they'll do this CGI close up of the baby in the womb, and you see the baby obviously struggling and in pain. And it could have easily been very gimmicky or very cheesy, but it just adds to the utter horror of this film because everything that this Sarah character is going through at the hands of this home invader, you can see the baby going through as well. Yeah, French man, Jesus Christ, you guys. There's a limit there, and you guys just go, fuck that, vive la France. So, so we have a few sort of flashback moments. I touched on it, obviously, in the non-spoiler review, where Sarah's dreaming about her husband, and there's a moment where she's looking at photos of him and them together, and you just see the husband obviously kissing her on the neck, and quite a lovely moment, almost similar to that film Ghost, and then it just snaps back into reality, and then the cold harshness of everything that's happened to her suddenly dawns and just descends on her again, and it's again it's not this is definitely not a psychological horror, that's for damn sure, but there's lovely little psychological moments in it to try and put you in the character's position and everything that she's going through, and I think they touched on it brilliantly there. So she obviously takes comfort in photography, which I just touched on a minute ago. So that's quite a prevalent thing in this film. And then we have the home invader, which is a woman, which I think adds an unbelievable dynamic to this film. How many horror films have we seen over the years where there's a young woman at home, alone, struggling, damsel in distress, and it's some big brute or slasher or some rapist or just a general psychopath. 99.9% of the time it's a bloke, and this time it's a woman. Hell have no fury like a woman scorned, and that scorned line will become very clear in a bit. If you've seen the film, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And this woman, it's interesting. I was obviously researching this film, and obviously I was looking up the cast, and the villain in it is called Beatrice Delier, and her name, her title for her character is just La Femme, La Femme. I'm not sure if that's a French word for female, but it's just La Femme. That's her name, and I thought that even just looking at that small little detail, her character name didn't even give her name away. It was just La Femme. Fucking hell. So we have the initial moment where she's knocking on the door and pretending to be like, someone who's stranded. Her car's broken down, and she's like, "I want to use the phone." And Sarah's just like, "No, I'm sorry, my husband's sleeping. I can't let you in." And then La Femme says, "Your husband's not sleeping. Your husband's dead." Yeah, a sign of things to come. And it comes very, very clear from the get go that this woman knows her very well. Sarah doesn't know her at all, and she's got a massive, massive grudge, uh, and that grudge needs fulfilling. So I need to try and conduct myself here, but so So we have a couple of moments where obviously La Femme is trying to break in, and Sarah gets a um, camera out and starts taking photos of her, and she manages to get like a low resolution, like poor lighted photo. And she calls the police. The police come around and said, "There's no one here. Don't worry." She then goes to bed, and of course, La Femme is now in the house. And we have, for me, there's so many brutal and horrible scenes in this film, but for me, this is the worst by far. You see, obviously, Sarah, she's on the bed, she's sleeping, she's absolutely knackered because, she's heavily pregnant at this point. She's literally a day away from giving birth. And the femme just creeps into the room with a pair of scissors, guides the scissors just sort of over her belly like that, and then just opens them and just literally sticks it in her belly button. Not like cuts or little graze, actually physically sticks it directly into her belly button. Oh fuck! And instantly, obviously, Sarah wakes up, and it turns into a horrible sort of hostage situation where Sarah's now in the bathroom. Her water's just broke, so she's now going through labour. While La Femme, this absolute fucking nutcase, is outside trying to kick the door down. And in this early foray of all this brutal and this violence, Sarah's boss, Francois, comes in. He was the one who was given the key at the beginning. And this La Femme, this just shows how manipulative she is. She goes downstairs and sees, obviously, Sarah's boss there and pretends to be Sarah's mum. And it seems to be going okay, but this La Femme is sort of losing grip of reality. She's obviously gone through something horrific. We're not quite sure yet at this point. But Francois is a little bit suspicious, but nothing's glaring at the moment. Until Sarah's actual mum walks in the door. Da da da! Oh, fucking hell. And obviously Francois looks at this La Femme and said, "Who the fuck are you? What are you doing here?" Sarah's mum walks up the stairs, and in the fallout, Sarah's obviously still sieged up in the bathroom, and she hears someone coming up the stairs, and she grabs a knitting needle, opens the door thinking it's this La Femme character, and stabs her own mother through the neck. And then downstairs, you can see La Femme just making mincemeat of Francois, stabbing him up. I think initially she stabs him through the back of the legs with a knife, and then he's on the floor and the scissors, and he's on the floor struggling, and she just sticks these scissors right through his face, and you see everything, and there's just blood, guts, gore spraying everywhere. So not only is obviously her boss now dead, she's accidentally killed her own mother, and it's just fucking hell. It was just brutal, absolutely fucking brutal. So you see, obviously, after Sarah accidentally kills her mum, she then obviously goes back into siege, back into the bathroom, locks the door, and the fam is sort of sitting outside and begging her to come outside, and she's like, "Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?" And she's like, "Come outside and you'll find out." And like her cat walks past, and she ends up breaking the cat's neck, and she's having all these weird twitches and these flashbacks of the car crash, and you're thinking, what's the car crash got to do with her? Da da da. So a short while after this, the police do a sort of routine checkup on Sarah, but it's a different sort of police crew. So they knock on the door, and of course, La Femme, doing her manipulative best, walks down there and pretends to be Sarah. So of course, it's a different police crew this time. So they just look at her and she's like, "Everything's fine, everything's fine. Thank you very much for checking up on me." And they both get back into the police car. They're about to drive off. One of them clocks. He's like, "Isn't she supposed to be pregnant?" They run back up to the house, banging on the door, force their way in, and of course, La Femme, you can see the camera pans down. She's not pregnant at all. So they hear Sarah upstairs, kicking and screaming and crying. So one of the police officers goes up to investigate, and the other one holds La Femme down on her knees, and of course La Femme, she gets the upper hand. Being a woman, it's that situation again. It's like if it was a man, the police would maybe have a bit more respect, be a bit more, I don't know, a bit more fearful of his actions. But because she's a woman, she's so manipulative. She just sort of bows down on her knees, pretends everything's, she's all submitting, and then turns around and sticks her scissors right in cop number one. He gets a scissors right through the eye. So cop two goes up to investigate, see what's happening with Sarah. Manages to get her out because La Femme has sort of barricaded the door up, and the minute this poor cop pulls Sarah out and she's hugging him, so please help me. Bam! Cop number two, half his face gets blown off. Yeah. So there's a third cop that's in the car, and he hears a lot of what's going on here. And interesting, this is the only part where I have an actual big problem with this film. They have some petty criminal in the back of the car, and rather than just leave him there and lock the doors, cop number three decides to sort of handcuff himself to this criminal and drags the criminal inside to investigate. Now, I don't know much about police enforcement in France, but to me that sounds absolutely fucking retarded. Why the fuck would you bring a sort of criminal into a crime scene or a murder scene or a scene that's still happening with your colleagues and a pregnant woman? That to me was just absolutely fucking moronic, and my only criticism of this entire film. So cop number three is obviously creeping around the house, sees his two colleagues dead. He has some weird kind of stun gun, I believe. The lights go out. Obviously, Sarah's telling them, "Oh, she's still here. She's still here." And they're like, "No, don't worry, everything will be fine." And they're trying to like activate the lights, trying to get the power back on. And of course, La Femme grabs this stun gun and ends up shooting cop number three directly in the temple. Now, I thought he was dead at first, and then the criminal gets scissors directly into his forehead, like really fucking like graphic, just like you see it just like going in, pulls it out of his own head, and he's standing there, all blood streaming out of his eyes. Fucking hell! At this point, it was just like it's already gone up to 13 in the gore levels. You're just thinking, where's this film going to fucking end? Is Sarah going to be able to escape this horror that everything that she's going through? If not, just fucking put her out of her misery. A little bit like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This poor woman's gone through fucking so much. But then after obviously Sarah hearing obviously the other cop's been killed, like literally everyone's dead. All the backup that was coming for her is dead. Sarah has a sort of a fight back moment. She lies back on the bed and pretends to be submissive, whilst La Femme creeps over her. Looks like she's about to kiss her, or she's about to, do some weird kind of ritual on her, and ends up like stabbing her right in the face. So she goes down, stumbles downstairs to the kitchen because she's locked all the front doors and barricaded the whole house. And then ensues one of the most uncomfortable scenes, apart from the ending of this, when they're in the kitchen and La Femme is just literally beating the fuck out of this pregnant woman. And I'm talking kicking her in the face, punching her in the face repeatedly. And it's really, really fucking uncomfortable. And again, it's doing that thing, it's just close up of the baby struggling as well. And it's like, oh, God. Sometimes you watch these films and you have these little moments of reflection and you're like, what the fuck is wrong with me? What the fuck is wrong with us for watching it? But yeah, so Sarah ends up getting the upper hand. She gets like a can of aerosol and a lighter, and does a sort of flamethrower right into La Femme's face, and you could see it like half her face was charred. It was like charred black, and she's absolutely fucking massacred by this point. So Sarah's standing there, blood streaming out of her, still going through, labour. She's in absolute agony, and she just sort of wanders out of the kitchen, and suddenly the lights come on. And this is probably the only actual scary part of the film. Everything else has just been brutal and just horrible. But cop number 3, who got stun gunned like in the side of the temple, suddenly he's just like a fucking vegetable. He's just like up against the wall, like he's playing with the fuse box. And Sarah's just like, hello, hello, sir, sir. And he's just completely unresponsive. And then turns round and his eyes are just fucking completely bloodshot, like just absolutely like blood red. And he just fucking switches and just gets his baton out. Is that the French word, baton? Um, Gets his like nightstick out and just starts smashing this Sarah about multiple times in the stomach as well. Oh fuck! And you see it like every time he's hitting her in the stomach, you can just see all this blood just gushing out of her from that area, obviously. And it's just fucking hell. And then La Femme hears obviously what's happening. She reacts, and I think she stabs the cop number 3 with a hot poker like straight through his rib cage. And this Sarah is literally on death's door now by this point. The baby's on the verge of coming out. She's hemorrhaging blood everywhere, and then it cuts to La Femme stalking her up the stairs. And I think Sarah asks her one more time, "Why are you doing this?" And La Femme tells her, "You weren't the only one to lose someone in that car crash." And then it cuts to a flashback of La Femme. She's in the other car which Sarah was involved in, Sarah and her fella. And she was the other driver of the car, and she was pregnant as well. And when they had that crash, Sarah obviously kept her baby but lost her husband. La Femme sadly had a miscarriage. And then suddenly it all makes sense. La Femme was stalking and attempting to take the baby out of Sarah this entire time because Sarah inadvertently caused La Femme to miscarriage. So after that, you're thinking, is Sarah just going to pass away? Is that going to be the end? Oh no, absolutely fucking not. Oh god. Oh. I feel fucking horrible just even saying this bit. So La Femme gets the scissors, cuts Sarah's dress off, and starts to perform a cesarean section on Sarah on the stairs. No, obviously, pain relief. She's been absolutely battered and massacred. And you see everything. You see the scissors going into her stomach. And you just see it carving around the belly and just ripping it open and pulling the baby out. Now, I've been watching a lot of horror films for years. Not much creeps me out. And at this point last night, at that scene, I was like this. Honestly, it was, oh, fuck me. So bad. It was so bad. And they showed everything. And then the fam pulls the baby out. The camera just sort of pans up Sarah's lifeless body, and there's just blood everywhere, just trickling down the stairs like a fucking like a waterfall. And then the camera cuts to some eerie camera angle of La Femme just sitting in a rocking chair with half her face blackened up and just melted, holding a brand new newborn baby. The end. Okay, now I need a drink. Oh, that was Inside, 2007 French new French Extremity horror. 8.5. Trust me, it is not for the squeamish. It is not for the weak heart. weak-hearted. Um, yeah, I think I'm done. Just reliving and reciting that end scene, I've just left myself almost speechless. It was so bad. It was so bad. But having watched it last night, I had to do a review of how I felt, just after watching it. Fresh emotions. I thought I have to put it onto video. So I hope you guys can can sense and get those feelings that I had last night. Truly, truly horrific film, but absolutely fucking brilliant. It's so dark and so bleak and horrible, but so well acted. And 8.5, 8.5. Noise highly recommends it, and it's the best new French extremity horror I've seen, bar none. So that's it. Thank you very much, folks, for checking me out and staying with me. Please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment and share, please. And I'll be with you again very, very soon for another edition of Horror Noise. Take care, folks. Much love.